right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Surviving the storm. Tornadoes ripping through the bi-state Saturday.
There's the siren again.
Scary skies, falling trees, and golf ball-sized hail. Right now, thousands without electricity following a storm that packed a punch. Tonight, we're live with a look at the aftermath from Illinois to Missouri.
That wind was kicking it.
And a very good evening to you. I'm Brent Solomon. Those severe storms hammering the bi-state tonight, causing damage all throughout our region. And we remain in storm alert after at least 2 tornadoes are confirmed in Valley Park and in St. Clair County. Tonight we have team coverage from both sides of the river for you. Mercedes McKay is live in hard-hit Heckler, Illinois. But first, we want to go to Travis Cummings, live in Sullivan, Missouri. Travis, what are you seeing tonight?
Brent, I want to show you just how strong this storm was here in parts of Crawford County. This is a commercial retail space here in Sullivan. The metal structure is completely caved in. And I want to show you this part up here, this top part over here, because it's almost as if someone crumbled up a piece of paper, only larger. Down power lines, borders, scattered metal and wood here at this retail space. This is off Church and Main, right across from the Sullivan Fire Department, actually. Now, just down the road, part of the roof of the city's street department building flew off. You see remnants of it behind street closed signs and caution tape. The city administrator showed us this photo here. It's a tree uprooted near his house. Look how big that is. Emergency managers said they had to address water damage and debris throughout the area. I spoke to a man who had to take shelter as he was out and about.
That wind was kicking it. He was probably hitting, I would say 70, 80 miles an hour. I was sitting in I drive an 08 Ford Edge, and he was rocking back and forth when I was sitting in that bank drive up there underneath their roof. But yeah, it got pretty wild.
Now, as of about an hour ago, about 150 people were still out of power here in Sullivan. The roads have been cleared. The city has been working all night to clear them of debris. There's still some water damage out there. The city said that they will reassess tomorrow during the daylight. We're live in Crawford County. Travis Cummings, 5 on your side.
All right, Travis, thanks for that update. The Metro East also impacted by today's severe weather. Our team coverage continuing now with Mercedes McKay live in Heckler, Illinois. Mercedes.
Brent, we just got here to Heckler about less than an hour ago. We saw a huge tree bent over, completely snapped, and then we stumbled upon this. Take a look here. These people behind us, they're just grateful they're alive. This whole entire tree completely smashed onto their house. You can see it right there, right close up to their window. Super scary situation here in Heckler, but Ruth Mert, she's the one who lives here and spoke with us. She told us her and her husband were in the living room when they heard a huge loud boom. Then she saw this tree coming straight into their window and water from the ceiling actually just coming down. She also told us that she had actually just picked up her husband from the hospital today. So they had just gotten home and they just rode out the storm in the living room. She said that when she walked outside, she was obviously devastated by the mess. But despite all the damage, her and her husband are just grateful they're alive tonight.
We got a hole in the roof at the top of it. One as you come in the front door, then the porch's roof is all mangled up, and there's water, the ceiling, I'm waiting for that to cave in with the water. Other than that, we're okay.
I also spoke with the Monroe County Public Safety Director over the phone about an hour ago. He told me thankfully there are no injuries here in Monroe County, but there is structural damage, obviously here in Heckler, Maystown, and Valmeyer. He also said there are about 17 different locations where power lines are down. And actually, Brent, it took us longer to get here because one of the main roads that we would have used to get to the city here in Heckler was closed down because of a power line being down. So if you are out and about, just make sure you are staying safe safe. Watch where you're stepping because it is very dangerous in certain areas. For now, live in Hecker, Mercedes McKay, 5 on your side.
And Mercedes, you be safe as well. It was a busy night for our Weather First team. Chief Meteorologist Scott Cano and meteorologist Gary Frank tracking this storm for hours. Where do we stand right now?
Well, the severe threat's over, so that's the good news that we have for you at this hour. In fact, we look out at the airport right now, and after seeing a wind gust close to 70 miles per hour around the metro area, we have finally seen those showers and thunderstorms kind of fizzle on us, and that's a good thing. So looking at Lambert, while the storms were rolling through the metro, we certainly had flight delays. They seem to have caught back up now, and things are moving along pretty well. Just kind of looking at that area of thunderstorms developing out to our west and then moving through the St. Louis area as we push through this evening. These storms packed quite a punch. In fact, as this area was pushing in from the west, initially it was some giant hail out to the southwest of St. Louis, and then some of that larger hail made it into the metro area. That's where we started to see some of the rotation in the thunderstorms, and we saw what we suspect to be a tornado in and around the Valley Park area and also over in Hecker. The National Weather Service will send out some survey crews tomorrow to inspect the damage. We still have flash flood warnings in effect for parts of Jefferson County, western St. Louis County, back into Franklin County. But what we've seen is that the water levels are going down. But even so, and even though they may be back below below flood stage, if you're driving in this hilly terrain off to the west and southwest of St. Louis and there's water crossing over that road, you do not want to drive through that. Now the northwest winds are becoming gusty. Tomorrow is going to be a rude adjustment as we expect to see temperatures tomorrow really on the chilly side, only in the 40s to around 50 degrees. Gary's going to talk more about that forecast coming up in just a few minutes, Brent.
All right, we'll be staying tuned for that. Tonight, Ameren crews are working to restore power across the bi-state. These are the latest numbers within the last hour. More than 11,700 are without power in Jefferson County, more than 1,400 in St. Francis County. The largest impact in St. Louis County right now, with nearly 14,000 without power. Over in the city of St. Louis, some 4,000 are waiting for electricity. Today's severe weather causing a big delay for the City SC's home game tonight. The match was supposed to start at 7:30, but players didn't hit the pitch until just a few minutes ago. Before the match started, fans had to shelter in place due to the tornado warning at the time. Here's video from our photojournalist Tony Chambers showing a crowded room of fans waiting patiently. Corey Miller will have more on tonight's game later in sports. And many of you have been sharing photos and videos you captured of this storm system and the damage it brought with it. Washington, Missouri seeing some serious lightning today. Paul Wilcoxon sharing this photo and these images with us. Sharon Ferris in Sullivan, Missouri sending in this video of heavy rainfall. And over in the Metro East, video from Brandon Randles. This is from Trenton, Illinois. Strong winds that gave the appearance of some kind of rotation. Well, Elizabeth Oglesby shared photos with us as well, so we thank you all for taking the time to do that. Be sure to text 314-425-5355 so you can stay up to date with the weather forecast. Coming up next, taking a stance. The LGBTQ+ community firing back following the Attorney General's restrictions on transgender care. And the countdown to the Boston Marathon. Our Verified team looks back to the first time women were able to compete. Earlier today, the LGBTQIA+ community hosting a rally for expression. This was at Keener Plaza. They're pushing back against the Missouri Attorney General's emergency regulation that would impact transgender care for adults and children. Advocates tell 5 on your side they are disappointed.
It's a bombardment. It's repeated. It's over and over. It's hit after hit after hit, and it is traumatizing, especially to these children that have to go to the Capitol. An 11-year-old little boy had to stand up in front of the state representatives and tell them why his health care is more important than their opinions, and that's sad.
The AG's rule will take effect on April 27th. This weekend, hundreds of volunteers are coming together at Queenie Park in St. Louis County to help pack food for those in need. Over 1 million meals will be shipped overseas as part of the Feed the Need event. The event is made possible by donations. Organizers looking for more volunteers tomorrow.
Severe weather has raced through the area, but we're in the clear now. What we can expect overnight and a little bit of a recap of what we've experienced the last 12 hours.
Ten years ago today, tragedy struck at the Boston Marathon. 3 people were killed, more than 260 hurt after 2 bombs went off at the finish line. Today, families of the victims are gathering to lay wreaths to commemorate the lives lost. Well, some 30,000 runners will hit the pavement Monday in Boston. And as the race draws closer, our Brandon Lewis from our National Verify team looks into when women were first allowed to compete.
Verify here with your Fast Fact. More than 20,000 runners will race through the streets of Boston for this year's marathon. Last year, about 40% of the racers were women. But did you know it wasn't until the early 1970s that women were officially allowed to run? Let's explain using these sources. For decades, the Amateur Athletic Union, which sets the rules for running events, didn't allow women to compete in long-distance events. In 1967, runner Catherine Switzer signed up anyway using her initials, KV Switzer. She maintains, quote, "I wasn't running to prove anything. I was just a kid who wanted to run her first marathon." On race day, she was handed a bib, and despite being chased on the course by a race official trying to stop her, she ended up finishing in 4 hours, 20 minutes, making her the first woman to officially run the race. A year earlier, Bobby Gibb also completed the race, but her run was unsanctioned because she didn't sign up. Finally, in 1972, the Boston Marathon officially began allowing women to compete. That year, Switzer placed 3rd among 8 female runners. With your Fast Fact, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Well, today, abortion rights advocates rallying outside of the Supreme Court to protest. They actually support access to abortion medication. This comes a day after the court temporarily blocked a lower court's decision to ban access to mifepristone by mail. Now, some doctors sued to have that drug banned, claiming the FDA ignored safety risks. The temporary stay until midnight on Wednesday gives the justices time to consider what to do next. Let's go ahead and see if we can get a live image now over downtown St. Louis. Of course, those storms have moved out of the metro, but we have seen our fair share of severe weather. In fact, we received a lot of photos of today's storms from viewers all across the bi-state. Let's go ahead and see if we have that photo from Kirk Mooney in Festus. Now, this shows fallen trees blocking the road there. We also have a photo from Natalie Kahn from Hermann, Missouri, stopping to show the size of hail that landed on Highway J. That was earlier this evening. Meteorologist Gary Frank joins us now with the Weather First forecast. You know, you guys have been tracking this storm all day from the early morning hours, and you warned us that we'd see just what we saw.
Yeah, you know, it played out, you know, the last couple of severe weather events, we've really dodged a few things, and fortunately and unfortunately this time, we didn't quite have that luxury. We're starting to cool down right now, so let's talk about what occurred right now. But as we're sitting right now at 60 degrees, the key for us is the fact that things are much, much calmer. And I want to look at the big picture here and show you what's going on outside here on the Illinois side. We still have some rain here at the moment. Our visible and infrared satellite shows how this storm developed from on the other side of the state. And the leading edge, we had some storms early. We cleared out, and then those storms really started to take shape. That was the first part of the day, and then this is the second half. And behind it, it's quiet, but it's all part of this more major storm system, which created that line. And initially, we had those supercell thunderstorms, which created some very large hail, and then tornadoes, and now it has straightened and weakened as it's worked its way into Illinois. I do want to point out a few showers that are expected here into the overnight hours. We see them from Colombia to Mexico. It's all has to do with this front that's moving through, and that's going to cool us down. However, as I mentioned, it's 60 degrees. Our high was about 78 today. and we're going to start to see those winds pick up overnight. So as they switch. Now, our peak wind speeds at some of the major airports and other areas around, 67 miles an hour at Lambert, and that was very common in the city specifically. So a lot of us got that. Scott Air Force Base, not as much, but anywhere between 40 to 70, even 97 in Rolla, if that's confirmed. So that was at the airport. So some significant wind damage in many locations. Right now, as I mentioned, we're around 60 degrees. As we take this out from a broad perspective, it's already 48 in Columbia and 42 in Kansas City. That's the cold air that was kind of the scene setter for one of the reasons that we had this big severe weather outbreak. As that rain continues to push out of the state of Illinois completely, we'll see not only our temperatures fall significantly overnight, but we'll have a few showers around. It's going to be a gloomy, gray type of Sunday, easy day to stay inside. In addition to that, as our temperatures continue to fall in the 50s, a few showers will be around. We're in the mid-40s by tomorrow morning. We're not really going to go anywhere. Clouds around, light showers around, temperatures holding steady. Trying to get to 50 will be a struggle, but the wind will be a wind chill after days that we've seen in the 80s, and I think that's not out of the question. Wind out of the west at 15 to 25, gusts up to 30, maybe 35 at times. That settles down just a little bit here, but it will be windy tomorrow. As we struggle to get to 50, we might get there in a few spots, but it's going to be windy, and the next few days we'll quiet down. Thank goodness the Battlehawks will be indoors because it's going to be a good day to be indoors for that. And then we're going to rebound a little bit. We're warming right back up, but that's part of the what goes on here in April as it gets a little bit more active. We'll see showers off and on, but a little bit more quiet to start the week.
Hats off to you and Scott and the entire team for keeping us updated on this.
Thank you. Yeah, we always happy to do it.
Yep, very much. Thank you so much. Well, Corey, you have to be a diehard fan to ride out the storm in the stadium and then wait for hours for the match to start.
There's an awful lot of them still out there at City Park. Like you just said, we had to wait 2 extra hours. Fans had to take shelter in the concourse, but we're finally getting soccer tonight. And those fans who stuck around, they are sure glad they did. We're back with sports after the break.
The Sports Desk is sponsored by Jim Butler Chevrolet, the Midwest's #1 Chevy dealer 10 years running.
This 5 on Your Side St. Louis City SC coverage is sponsored by Together Credit Union.
Well, it may have taken almost 2.5 hours longer than planned to get there, but we still have soccer tonight in St. Louis. So roll back those Sunday alarm clocks a little bit later than planned if you want to stay up and see St. Louis City SC take on Cincinnati. The St. Louis Kid de Smet grad Pat Noonan leading his undefeated FC Cincinnati squad into a soggy City Park. And if you stuck around through the rain, City made it worth your while right off the bat. 3 minutes in, Jared Stroud finds the back of the net. Are you kidding me? Right now, City leads 1-0 about halfway through the first half. It is a great day on the baseball calendar, Jackie Robinson Day, where everybody wears 42. Here's some cool photos I found with Stan the Man, Jackie, and St. Louis native Yogi Berra all together in the 50s. Today, the Cardinals were trying to get 2 in a row against the Pirates, but got a frustrating ending instead. Steven Matz was on the mound. He was all right. 2 runs in 5 2/3. This was the first batter he faced. Brian Hayes took him deep. Not a good omen there. And this guy for the Cardinals just keeps making good contact. That's Alec Burleson. He ties it up early with that ground rule double. Cardinals did not like the strike zone today, and umpire Will Little decided to toss Oliver Marmol for voicing that displeasure. You see it right there. This one will wind up in extra innings, tied at 3, limited bullpen options day, and the Cardinals go to Jordan Hicks, who's off to a really rough start this year. Andrew McCutcheon greets him with a 7th straight slider that he sends over the fence into the seats. Pirates win 6-3. Marmol explained the bullpen situation after the game.
You had Gio down, you had Verhagen down today, Thompson was down today, you had some fatigue with Palante, he asked for a day leading into this game, so you have Hicks available and you have Cabrera available to start that inning. You're looking at McCutcheon, Santana, Joe, Castro. I can't disagree with our group going with Hicks.
Well, it was autopsy day for the Blues season, and there were no punches pulled from the general manager all the way down to the guys in the locker room. The Blues will be watching the playoffs on TV this spring instead of playing in them for the first time since 2018, and that does not sit well.
You know, I want to watch it and I want to feel that feeling of, you know, I want to be out there. I'm pissed off, you know.
This isn't going to be a recurrence. You know, I don't think we're going to be in this situation again, and you know, it sucks.
We didn't play well enough as a team. That's really what it boils down to.
Cool event today at the Wool Rec Center, the second annual Battle of the Borders basketball tournament. Now there's money on the line for the teams, but this tournament is meant to help develop basketball officials. It's a thankless job, but an important one. And the career path for a basketball official, in some ways, follows that of a player.
VGO does a great job of doing highlight tapes for officials. We do highlight reels. We do different things to kind of do a different culture for the officials.
Hope is that they understand that they can grow as an official, they can ignite an opportunity and officiate at the highest level.
It's really a great opportunity to show that we can officiate here in St. Louis and kind of just continue to put us on the map.
I don't know if you guys noticed the crowd shots in soccer highlights, but a tornado warning, sheltering in some stairwells in the concourse didn't scare people away.
They're still
they
there.
love soccer. St. Louis loves
We
soccer.
need the answers. For one, I had my friends wondering when it was going to stop. I'm getting a bunch of those. Two, 9:49, not 9:50.
Wow.
Not 9:40, 9:49.
They're very precise.
Very precise. I'd love to know more about that. And then the officials thing, my goodness, basketball is one of the harder sports to officiate. And it's officiating is a thankless job.
You take it from the players, you take it from the fans, but somebody's got to do it.
That's
and
true.
St. Louis has a lot of good ones.
Well, no officials, no game.
No games, and it's tough. So it's a thankless job. And as we kind of wrap up everything that's going on today, it's quiet, and you're going to be able to sleep well. In fact, I think with the windows open, that's the first thing I'm going to do when I get home is to open up the windows. We're starting to see that cold front move through, and that's going to be where the temperatures drop. And right now, it almost looks like it's working its way here into St. Charles County. You can see that thin line that crosses from Warren County into St. Charles County. So let's be prepared for our temps to drop. And when you wake up tomorrow morning, maybe some light rain, but it's going to be in the 40s.
Oh, wow. All right. We'll be ready for it. Thank you for that. Thank you for joining us. That's all of our time at 10. We hope you have a great night.